Hey guys, welcome back. So I had the worst case of Achilles tendonitis, and I did tell you that when I got it under control, I would let you know what I had to do to get there. So I had had Achilles tendonitis for maybe 6 to 8 months, and after my meniscus injury, it forced me to skate switch stance, which means I was popping off of my non-dominant leg all of the time. And I think that's what caused it to become so bad. That and the fact that I was trying to learn switch trays in every single session I did. So I was putting a tremendous amount of strain on my Achilles tendon, basically, that it wasn't used to. And for months, I had been trying all of the traditional exercises to get rid of Achilles tendonitis. None of it was working, and it was continually getting worse, to the point that I was dreading going skateboarding. I would still do it, but it was incredibly painful. It would flare up and it would not go away for the whole session, and it hurt for days after. So there's 2 types of Achilles tendonitis, and I didn't know that I had the second type. Again, insertional Achilles tendonitis. So there's the regular one where your Achilles tendon gets really inflamed and swollen here. One of the really good methods for getting rid of that is to massage this area regularly, and it's sort of like unknotting a frayed rope. It starts to realign all the fibers. It's a lot of work. You got to do a lot of massaging. But the problem was my Achilles here was not inflamed at all. Where it is it's where the tendon actually joins into, it inserts into the heel bone right here. It was extremely inflamed. You couldn't actually see it, but I could feel it. It was just hot and painful all the time. So I want to give credit where credit's due, but I can't remember who said it in the comments. But one of you guys linked a video. I watched that and it began to get better once I followed what that person said to do. But before we get into that, let's go over some of the traditional Achilles tendonitis exercises. So in almost every video you watch about Achilles tendonitis, they're gonna get you doing a lot of stretches like this, trying to keep your leg really straight and really get into dorsiflexion there. So dorsiflexion is just when you have it very bent like this. You can see my leg is starting to go forward. That's dorsiflexion in this joint right here. So a lot of stretches like this, a lot of stretches off a step where you're hanging like this. A lot of people are saying do calf raises, lots of calf raises to strengthen it. And one of the main ones, one of the ones that people really love to get into is the eccentric calf raise. So I suppose it's not a calf raise because you're actually lowering, but the eccentric calf raise, you get yourself up like this, and then you just hold it and let yourself lower as slowly as possibly, all the way down and way into dorsiflexion down here. And so the idea, again, is just to stop yourself from dropping. So all of these stretches and exercises are great if you have the regular kind of tendonitis. But with insertional Achilles tendonitis, none of this stuff works, and in fact, all of it makes it worse. So not only was I not getting better, my attempts to improve it were actually making me worse. There's very few things you can actively do to help this. So the first thing I had to do was just stop skating switch and nollie, because popping off that foot had become excruciating over time. The second thing I did was I stopped wearing low-cut shoes. So if you guys noticed in the last couple of months, I started wearing blazer mids again. That was because instead of having that thick collar of a shoe putting pressure on my heel right here, now it spreads it more evenly and up to about here. So I do think that actually helped. I don't think I even need to wear mids anymore, but I would say it definitely relieved some of the pressure. Now I did keep skating, but what I tried to do was I tried to avoid doing anything that would put me into extreme dorsiflexion. So I wasn't really even doing crooked grinds or nose slides much. Basically, in that whole period where you guys saw me skating curbs a ton and learning slappies, that was when my Achilles was all messed up. So if it's your popping foot, if it's your rear foot on a board, I'm sorry, it's gonna be hard, because basically you're gonna have to skate switch or just don't skate switch until it becomes not so flared up. I'm about 2 months into the recovery of this, and I can now actually do a lot of switch and nollie tricks, but let's get into the most crucial exercise that I had to do on top of those other things. So the good news is it's a really easy exercise. Start your timer and just stand like this. So all I'm doing is just supporting my body weight on my one leg with the Achilles tendonitis. So slowly over time, I've worked my way up to about 2 minutes at a hold at a time. But in the beginning, I would do about 1 minute at a time, and I would do it maybe 3 or 4 reps. So I would also stabilize myself with something, whether it be a couple of handrails, the corner of a wall, something, right? Now, the nice thing about this exercise is it's so simple and so not gym bro that just about any skateboarder could probably find the will to do it should they find themselves with a really bad case of insertional Achilles tendonitis. Again, just stand here on the ball of your foot for as long as you can. I recommend timing it so you can actually track your progress and start to do it longer and longer. I never found that it flared up the tendonitis, and that's probably why it works, because what we're doing here is we're just loading it. We're loading it heavy and we're loading it frequently. And I would do my other calf in between to balance it out so that I'm not just over strengthening one and ignoring the other. So after 6 months of not being able to skate without pain, it took about 1 month of doing this exercise to get to the point where I could start to skate relatively pain-free. I've been doing this exercise probably about 5 days a week, so more days than I'm not doing it. After about 1 month, I was able to start skating basic switch and nollie. I really wasn't trying any flip tricks, but you know, I'm talking like actually doing crooked grinds, nose manuals, switch manuals, nollie 50-50s, pretty basic stuff. But it got to the point where I could actually use that leg again without pain. I'd say I'm about 2 months into doing these exercises now. And at this point, I can easily get through about a 2 to almost 3 hour session without any major pain. I'm now actually starting to do a fair bit of switch and nollie again. It's probably only about 15 to 25% of what I'm doing right now, just to ensure that it continues to keep getting better. But from going from 6 months of steady downhill progress on my Achilles to 2 months of uphill progress, I knew I was on the right track. So it's a very simple exercise, but it's getting better. Now at this point, I've started to incorporate more traditional Achilles tendonitis exercises in so that I can strengthen it more than it was before it became injured. And again, to give some credit where credit's due, so I follow old friends. That's Kyle Brown on Patreon. I'm a paying patron, and they sometimes ask their patrons for questions, so I asked him about Achilles tendinopathy. And his information was really useful to me. So what he said was you need to load it heavy, load it often, and it's okay to work through a bit of pain on this one. So that was something that I didn't know before. I was trying to avoid all pain altogether, but he said that, you know, you can go up to maybe like a 40% pain level. What I would say, and this is not as a physiotherapist, this is just from my personal experience, I would say if you're experiencing a lot of pain, it probably isn't going to improve. So keep it to a low but manageable level. I mean, I think as skateboarders, we're all used to working through pain so much. Like I said, I spent 6 months ignoring it and trying other exercises that were making it more painful. So clearly, I think most of us have a very high tolerance for pushing through pain and just ignoring it and trying to, you know, do what we love to do anyways. But this one finally got to the point where I had to work on it. So where I'm at this point is I can easily stretch. I can get into full dorsiflexion without pain, no problem. I can very easily do this exercise, the eccentric calf raise. I don't know what you call it, an eccentric calf raise, but this causes me very little pain now. So that's great because I can actually start to strengthen it again more than it was before. Some other things that I've been doing a ton of is I've been doing a ton of rolling out my arch with a tennis ball, making sure to get any knots out of there. That's helped a lot with my plantar fasciitis. So that's way better and not causing me problems. It's not even sore in the morning. And then also I've been spending a ton of time rolling out my calf. And I do find that a tennis ball works quite nicely as opposed to a foam roller because it kind of gets in there. And I do both legs, obviously, but yeah, I forgot to mention this one's a good one because a lot of the time what causes Achilles tendonitis problems is tightness in the calf or upward. So Lots of stretching where I can, lots of rolling where I can. All of that stuff has helped relieve all that pressure, and it's definitely getting better. I'd say I'm up to 80%. So 80% is pretty good. And on that note, guys, maybe I'll show a little bit of skating here. So the skating is from while I was getting better. It's not anything too recent, so you're not going to see too much switch and nollie yet, but I am able to do it. So in the upcoming footage, we'll see it. Okay, you guys, I was gonna show you my footage while I was recovering, but I think it would be better to show you some footage that is current. And I'm gonna show you a session that was filmed today so you can see how much switch I'm capable of before I start to get tired.
Yeah, that was a good one.
So guys, that was the footage, and what started to happen was right towards the end when I was doing all those switchback tails, my Achilles got a little bit sore. Nothing major. I stopped and started moving on to more regular footed tricks and like the kickflip back tail, which I've been working on. I was stoked to get that one because I either get it quick or I don't get it for a long time, so good times. But you can see that like I've made progress, and just for reference, at the end of this video I'm going to put a bunch of the footage from while I was recovering from it, and you can see that it's mostly all regular footed tricks, not anything major switch and nollie. I would say I am recovering from Achilles. What the heck is that? I filmed it 3 days ago and I forget all the words. That is how I am recovering from insertional Achilles tendonitis. I'm truly grateful for it because that was a major pain for a long time, and anyone who's had it knows for sure it's nasty. So yes, it wasn't necessarily intended to be a rehab video. I'm not a physiotherapist, but this is what I did to get better from it, and hopefully it's useful to you. Anyways, thanks for watching, and again, with the outro, here is a bunch of the skating I did while it got better. Bye. It's probably going to be a little underwhelming after this session because it was better. Bye.